smarter now.
Okay, wait a minute.
Oh, there's more?
Oh, yeah. Another theory suggests that infection got its nickname in the days before antibiotics, when men would treat gonorrhea by slapping their penis against a board or clapping it between two hands to force out the infected discharge.
Oh,
There you
shit.
go.
Oh, man. I don't even have the clap, and I still do that sometimes.
Oh, Jesus.
What?
You're getting too excited and you're
Marissa's
shaking the
like-
table over
Oh.
there.
Marissa's like, no.
Well, it's the
Please-
clap.
Please stop. Stop now.
Well, we're here again.
Here we are.
Yes.
We're not talking about STDs today. Thank God.
Well, I guess welcome to the jury dropout. I am Mike.
And I'm Jamie.
And I'm Marissa.
Yeah, and here we are. We're talking about the clap and gonorrhea.
No, we're not.
That's not the topic today.
No.
Oh. Well, hey, we had a burglary. Yeah,
You did. Tell
We-
us about this burglary, which is so ironic.
we had a break-in into our studio. And I'm pretty sure they probably didn't know that they were breaking into a studio where people record crime podcasts. But apparently what happened is Marissa woke up one morning and she sees a video on our Facebook news feed. Is that how that went?
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of our neighbors. And so there's video of these two guys, clowns, whatever they are, breaking into her garage. One of them's getting into her vehicle, and you can see the other approaching the camera, and then the camera goes dark. So apparently he unplugged the camera. So we saw that, and we thought, well, shit, that's just a couple blocks from our place. So we came out, and we're out in the studio area. Didn't notice anything. The studio's in a garage, by the way. So as I'm walking around the vehicle, I notice a handprint on the side of my pickup.
But that was after we had learned that they got into the neighbor's pickup.
Oh, yeah, they'd also gotten to the neighbor's pickup just across the street from us.
And then we noticed my car.
And then we noticed your car.
That they had gotten
And
into
your
my
car was outside?
Yes. My car was parked outside.
So, anyways, we had to have law enforcement come over and they dusted for prints. And we didn't notice anything missing. I don't know if they saw our cameras and bailed, not realizing our cameras weren't even on.
They
They are now.
saw the mascot of the mannequin in the corner and got spooked.
Well, they could have. We need a naked mannequin.
Like Herb, what's the name from Fox Hollow?
Oh, the guy?
Yeah, the guy, he had all the mannequins in his pool house.
Oh,
Creepy.
was his first name
Was it Herb? Herb Baumeister. Herb
Baumeister?
Fox Hollow Farms.
We'll talk about him one of these days.
Yeah, we're going to have to do that case.
But so they ended up finding these guys, though. So apparently, the father of one of them recognized the bag. So I just have some advice for future burglars. If you're going to go into a place and you're going to wear all black and you're going to carry a black bag, make sure on your black bag there isn't a giant Air Jordan emblem.
Not sponsored.
Yeah.
Pretty identifiable, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, Jesus. It's like burglary 101. And don't wear printed shirts. And I probably shouldn't be giving tips because that's how law enforcement locates people. But
So
Jesus Christ.
I'm guessing you said dad turned him in. Guessing kids.
Well, by kids, young adults, were they in their 20s? They quite that old? 18, 19, 20. I don't know. So they live on their own. But the dad did recognize the bag, called law enforcement, said, "Hey, that looks like my kid's bag."
Good for that dad.
Yeah. And so they were ultimately arrested. I think there was two individuals, each of them charged with, I think, 4 felonies. There
two.
was
Just 2. No, one was charged with 4. The other was charged with 2.
okay.
Well,
So
30.
isn't over $500 of theft considered a felony?
that would be a felony as well.
Yeah.
Well, just a burglary on its own. So burglary, if you enter a building with the intent to steal property, then that's considered a burglary. So even if you don't take property, it's still a burglary because you've entered a building. And breaking doesn't mean you have to break down the door. It's just basically breaking the plane. So you've entered the building with the intent to steal or commit a crime, and that becomes a burglary. So that's what they did. I assume they came in here to steal something. They didn't steal anything from us, but they did steal some money from the neighbors.
And don't steal debit cards and then try and use them in the same small town that you live in. I mean,
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So he basically burglarized and stole from everybody around him. So that'll be a fun homecoming.
they're
Yeah,
already
no.
out.
Oh, they are out?
They were released June 18th.
We should have them on the show.
Let's do an interview.
Let me just walk down
What
a couple
exactly was
houses
going
and
through your head?
knock on their door.
Oh, gosh.
Wow.
Well, you had something interesting.
Yeah, I was burglarized once. Yeah.
Was that
Quite a few years ago, though.
would that be, it was kind of a burglary.
Yeah, it was kind of a burglary, and it ended up being a stalker situation and
So
an attack situation.
tell me how that, what happened
What happened?
that day.
Well, I just a backstory is that originally he stole purses out of my vehicle, and then
And how long ago was this?
like a long time ago. So this is back before. I mean, I was still in college, so 96, maybe 95, 96, long time ago. But yeah, he ended up stealing a lot very frequently, and then ended up doing a lot of stalker type activity. But it all started with him stealing my purse out of my car, and then escalated from there.
So from the time that he stole your purse till the time that you found him in your house, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about
Yeah.
that.
Well, so at the time I worked as a CNA at the local hospital. I was in nursing school, and I worked all of the shifts sporadically. So this particular night I was working night shift, and I had gotten off of work and walked home and got in the house, got ready for bed, took out my contacts, whatever, went to lay down that morning to get some sleep. I'm guessing I got off at 7 o'clock in the morning. I can't remember what the hours were, but heard a noise, and and I was just in that, just about ready to fall asleep, heard a noise and kind of perked up. But of course, I'm blind as a bat, so I can't really see anything without my contacts. But I did kind of pop up and perk up. And mind you, I was already very aware of kind of what was going on. And so by hearing this noise, I was already very alert and kind of assuming what was going on. I hopped up out of bed, and as I hopped out of bed and went to the doorway, I was met with a blanket that he threw over my head, and kind of tried to wrestle around. And then I got the blanket off and heard him running through the house, through the hallway to the back utility room, and I chased him. Before I chased him, I grabbed the cordless phone and dialed 911, and then took off after him. And long story short, I kind of was beating him over the head with the cordless phone before he made it out of the house.
So did you still have him there when law enforcement arrived?
No, he ran. So he knew my house. He knew our house very well. So, okay, so I got to give you, I guess, the backstory. So I was living with Steve. We weren't married yet. We later got married, but I was living with Steve, and I was commuting to Kearney to nursing school, and I was working at the hospital while I was going to nursing school. So, he this whole time, I want to say this went on for close to a year, maybe. I don't know. I can't really remember, but there was a lot of instances where he was breaking in the house a lot, and stealing random things. And I didn't really notice at first, but when I couldn't find any bras all of a sudden, and my underwear was always missing, and just weird stuff. And then the neighbors would call and say, hey, we see him. He's going back and forth in and out of your garage. Or we see him in the backyard. He's going back and forth. And
So there was witnesses that actually saw the person enter your garage or your house.
And I had called police and complained. And they said, well, we can't do anything about it because we got to catch him there. Or we have to catch him with proof that he's been in your house. So I kind of got the runaround a little bit. They're like, we can't do anything about it because unless we catch him in the act or catch him there, there's nothing we can do.
See, and that's that's actually a little bit of BS. So if you have a witness that says, I saw such and such, and I assume they knew who it was, they knew his name, or did they?
Well,
or they could describe him anyway.
This person was, I think, well known in the neighborhood of doing these things. There was rumors that he was stealing clothes from clotheslines, particularly cheerleading outfits or cheerleading skirts and things like that. And so I think the neighborhood plus the police kind of had an idea of who it was.
Did this person live close?
Yeah, I'm going to say within 4 blocks, probably.
Okay, so the neighbors see him. They see him in the garage, maybe going to the house. You report that you're missing items, and they still felt that wasn't enough.
Right.
So, okay, that's different. So you come home, get ready for bed. Where's Steve at this time?
Well, he's at work because it's 7 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just working a night shift, so he had already gone for work for the day, and I was just coming home. But I guess to back up a little bit, throughout this whole time, items would be missing. But it escalated when I actually found him peeping in my window while I was taking a bath. And it just kind of riled me up a little bit.
So how long before you caught him in the house did you catch him peeping in your window?
That's a good question. I mean, it wasn't a small time frame. I want to say it was a few months.
So it started off with a purse.
Yep.
Neighbors then saw him in the house. You noticed items missing.
Mm-hmm.
Then you saw him peeking through your window.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so he probably knew your schedule.
Oh, yeah.
And probably knew Steve's schedule.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And, I heard him outside the window when I was taking a bath. I heard him, and I thought, I knew it. I knew it was what it was. And so I got up and threw a towel on and kind of tried to sneak my way to the window and pop up and scare him, which I did. I popped up and scared him and literally face to face with him. And I banged on the window and of course yelled at him and stuff, and he took off running. But it didn't stop him. Like, me catching him in the window did not deter him at all.
Well, and it seemed like, so this is the way it seems to me anyway, is a progression from the theft of the purse, and then it moved to the theft of the personal items, undergarments, things of that nature. Peeping through your window.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, actually waiting in the house until you got home. I when you first started describing it, I thought, well, maybe he was just stealing more items and you caught him by surprise. However, when you had gone to bed, that would have been a good opportunity for him to bail, but he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
He stuck around, and then you get up and you move. Were you in the bedroom when he threw the towel?
I was
or a
right in the
blanket over you?
doorway. I was right in the doorway. Yeah, I was headed out of the bedroom. As I hopped up out of the bed, and because I heard it, I heard it, and I know immediately. I'm like, oh, he's in the house. I'm like, I know what's going on. I was expecting it because this is going on for so long.
So that was, I mean, that would be attempted. I mean, that would be, he was attempting a sexual assault, I'm guessing.
Sure.
Is where it was going.
Sure.
And instead, he just got his ass kicked.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so to elaborate a little bit on that story, so he throws a blanket over my head, and I'm kind of fighting with him and wrestling with him. Of course, I got a blanket over my head, but I'm still, like, trying to kick the crap out of this kid. But, so anyway, I got the blanket off. He takes off running. We had a very long hallway, so, in our house. So the hallway is really long, and then at the end of the hallway, we had a utility room. I ran the opposite way to grab the cordless phone, dialed 911. I heard him in that utility room. At the time, we had gotten a new dryer. The old dryer was sitting in front of the back door. So that back door, we really couldn't use it because the dryer was right there. So I heard him trying to move that dryer to get out this back door. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh, the police can't do anything because they can't catch him in the house. So I thought to myself, oh, no, buddy, you're not going anywhere. So I took after him into the utility room, and I was going to kick his butt because I was pissed. So I got to the utility room, and he kind of met me at that doorway, and we're kind of fighting each other again. He's, at this point, I don't know who's doing what, kicking and throwing punches and whatnot. He gets past me and runs back the opposite way down the hallway towards our living room. There's also a back door in that living room too. So he took off, and I, of course, chased him down the hallway to the living room back door, and he's opening it, and it's a big steel door. It's like it's not like a regular house door. It's a heavy door. He opens it, and I slam it shut. And he's opened it again. We're continuing fighting with each other. And, 911 operator's on the phone still. And I'm taking this cordless cell phone, and I'm whacking him on the head with this cell phone. And, he's hitting me and whatnot. And he finally pushes me out of the way and gets out the door. And I'm like, shit. There he goes. And he takes off running.
Was he wearing, I assume he's wearing clothes, but.
Yeah, I don't even know. Well, I remember I'm blind because I have no contacts in. And I'm telling you, I'm blind. I have like a -8 prescription. This is before I had LASIK. So I'm freaking blind when it comes to taking my contacts out. So I'm doing all this. Can't really see shit. Anyway. So the 911 operator's still on the phone. And so I don't think she's ever heard anything like this in her life. And she's scared shitless, And so the cops get there. Well, in the meantime, I look down, and there's his glasses. I had knocked his glasses off. And his glasses had his name engraved in the frame. And the cop said, it's a godsend that you knocked his glasses off, because now we can charge him with something because you knocked his glasses off. And his name was engraved. His name was engraved in them because he was in juvie before. And so he had to have all of his personal items.
But just because you got his glasses off of him, then they were going to charge him?
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So did Did they do a search warrant, or did they search his place after that?
They did. Well, and first thing too is, they were asking me, just having me describe what I heard and whatnot and where he came from. Well, he came from the back, I call it the back bedroom. What was the back bedroom down off of that living room area. And so they went and looked in that room, and they found his coat, his jacket, and in his jacket he had a flashlight, a knife, and I think duct tape.
Oh boy.
In the closet, yeah, he had that wrapped up in his coat in the closet in that bedroom.
So this is definitely a pre-planned event. So they take that stuff.
So then they're like, okay, well, we know who it is and we know where to go. And so they went to his house. They ended up finding like a shrine of me, because he had, when he was stealing all my stuff, he had stolen all of my senior pictures. And they said that the pictures were like lined up all together. And a lot of my items all kind of surrounding it like a shrine.
Your first fan.
The funny thing is, though, is they were bringing some of the items back, and they brought all this underwear they brought back, and not all of it was mine.
Oof.
That's the scary part. That's the scary part, because I'm like, oh, well, he's done this to somebody else too. He's breaking into somebody else's house too. So anyway, so that was that story. But later on, at the time he was still juvenile. So he went to juvie, but later on, throughout the years, he ended up going to prison for raping a woman in Grand Island. So he was continually escalating. And he was in the state pen for a while.
Was he convicted of anything regarding your incident?
I don't think so.
So you were never called to court as a witness?
Nope.
That'd be interesting. I'm going to have to...
Nope. And he would continue to send me letters from the state pen.
Oh, he sent you letters?
Oh, yeah.
Were they apology letters?
I don't know, because I didn't read them.
Oh.
I turned them over to the police right away. I'm like, I'm not opening these. I'm not reading these.
Wow.
I think one of them, the police opened. It was the Valentine's card.
Was it at least?
I think one of them was an apology letter. I think whatever officer I had talked to said that, yeah, that's part of their program. They have to write apology letters or something like that. And I'm like, whatever. I don't want, like, why would a victim want a letter from, no.
Yeah.
To me, it doesn't, I was like, no. Mm-mm.
I can see him being forced to write an apology letter, but to send a Valentine's card, was it at least like a Hallmark, or was this like
I don't know,
one of the Scooby-Doo ones he handed out in grade
no,
school?
I'm sure he got it from the canteen or whatever you call it at the state pen. I don't know.
Did you get any of them heart candies?
Ah, Jesus, no, I don't know.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I think there was at least 3 letters I got after that from the state pen.
You know what's crazy is I worked for that agency probably a year or two later, and I never, ever heard that story until you brought it up a while back when we were talking how you had a stalker. And that's kind of I mean, I wouldn't describe that as a stalker. I mean, that was
yeah, so of course they have me. I didn't go down to the police station, but they had me write out
a statement of kind of what all happened. And of course, I'm full of myself because I'm in nursing school. So I'm trying to use all of this correct jargon and correct terms, and because I think it broke my finger and I had cuts and bruises, whatever. So I was trying to describe all this stuff, and of course
And when you're in nursing school, you think you're got to use all the correct terms. In hindsight, whatever. But I had given that letter to the police chief, and he's like, yeah, this is great and all, but you state in your letter that you don't think he was in here to steal anything.
Well, he doesn't have
And
to.
I said, you're right. I don't think he was in here to steal anything. I think he was in here to fucking attack me.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, the only thing we can charge him with, though, is theft.
Well,
I
maybe
thought that was so weird because he's like, well, your letter's good and all, but it's useless to us because you put in this letter that you don't think he was in here to steal anything. And I'm like,
that's
So they probably
you found a flashlight and a knife in
duct
his
tape.
pocket, and you don't what?
I could come up with a whole list of charges:
So I thought that was weird, and I'm like,
burglary,
Okay.
assault, attempted sexual assault.
So did they like ever interview this kid? Like, was that the first time he was in your house, or
oh, that was not the first time it was.
Well,
I
no,
mean, he was
because
in
he
my
had
house for months and months, just
her
stealing
property.
stuff. Yeah, but he ended up going to juvie after that. Now, I never, they never really followed up with me to let me know what was going on. It was just weird. It's just weird.
Wow.
I mean, it was, and I think that's why it was kind of always poo-pooed, I think. And I think that's why I'm so nonchalant about it when I would always tell the story.
Well, if that
don't
happened
know.
today, I mean, and I don't know if this is because we're talking back in the 90s in a small town where nothing ever happened, where,
Right.
You're in law enforcement anyway, that if you found, somebody with a pot pipe and a little bit of weed, you thought you just arrested Pablo Escobar.
Yeah.
I mean, you wanted your picture in the paper.
Yeah.
But you would think that back then, if that happened, I would have thrown his ass in jail. It would have been bad.
Their excuse was he was a juvenile. He was 17, I think.
I wouldn't have cared.
So that was their excuse. It just makes you wonder, like, did they not really want to they don't really want to do anything, I don't think. I'd send them to juvie and call it good.
Well, the bad thing is you let somebody like that run around free, and what's to say they don't try it again, or let's say they don't to the same person or to somebody else.
Well, and that's my point, is that later on he goes to the state pen for raping a woman in Grand Island. Like,
Yeah.
well, he obviously escalated.
Yeah. Apparently he's got a problem.
Yeah. Crazy. I was telling my daughter the story. She's like, is that really true? Yeah, it's really true. And she's telling her friends all about it. Like, I can't believe that happened.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, worse has
Yeah.
happened in that town since, and probably worse had happened in that town before. It makes you wonder, when stuff like that doesn't get handled properly, how many things like that had already happened that weren't handled properly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really it's shocking that nobody was raped, or who knows, maybe even killed prior to or even after that. If they kind of, blow it off. I don't know how else to
Yeah.
put it. I mean, that's a blow off.
I mean, and so I didn't grow to school in this town, so I was not aware of who this person was, but evidently he was,
Well, you're where now?
yeah.
Or you were then?
He was kind of known to be weird.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say I knew this individual, but I was aware of who he was.
So I was probably 19 or 20.
Okay. Well,
So how, you know who he is? How far or how many years apart were you?
well, I'm the same age as you, so
He was obviously younger.
yeah, he would have been younger. And I would have known his family. We're not talking a big town, so the town where this happened, would have only been 2,500 people.
Right.
So not very big. I mean, pretty much everybody knows everybody. But he would have been a little young for me to, I mean, we wouldn't have been in the same class by any means, but he might have been in one of my brother's classes. But I definitely knew who his family was. Matter of fact, I might have hanging out. I don't know if it was his sister or...
Yeah, see, I don't think I was 21. I don't remember. I don't think I was 21 yet.
Yeah, well, if you weren't 20, I didn't go into law enforcement. I was hired when I was 21, but my first day I was 22, so I guess this would have been probably a couple of years prior to me starting.
I know he was 17 because I know technically he was still juvenile. And that was their excuse.
Oh boy.
Anyway.
Well, yeah. Well, if you're if you're in law enforcement and some shit like this happens, don't just throw your arms up and say, "Well, they didn't steal anything."
The cop said, "Yeah, we're just lucky it was you. We're just lucky it was you that it happened to, because anybody else would have been raped, but you
are
were
6'6".
You're strong enough,
You
big
would
enough
have
to
given.
kick the shit out of him.
They would have given them so much work to do.
Well, yeah, I grew up with 3 older brothers. Was athletic. I would say describe myself as pretty strong at the time, and I was pissed, I was pissed. And so I think that's why I just wasn't going to take it. So they're like, yeah, well, we're glad it happened to you. I'm like, okay, well, thanks.
Well, there's obviously, I wouldn't even know what I was going to say.
But like I said, I talk about it whenever I would talk about it. It's nonchalant. I think probably because I got to that point where I was mad. I was not scared, really. But in hindsight, at night I can't have the windows. I can't have the blinds open. Like, it's weird stuff like that where I always feel like somebody's watching me. I always I'm very aware of that kind of thing.
See, now I keep my blinds closed, not because don't want people peeking in, but I don't want them to have to see it.
Lord. Walking around in his underwear at night.
Well,
yeah, no.
Hey,
if you're lucky.
We're empty nesters.
So be it. Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. Well.
I know. Weird. Anyway, just be aware.
Yeah, lock your
Somebody's
doors,
just gotta
close
be
your
aware.
blinds.
Yeah, and people are like, "Did you not lock your car?" Well, this is, mid '90s. Nobody really locked. It was in my driveway.
But even now, like, people really don't lock.
Well, the door to this place wasn't locked the night it
Yeah.
got broke into, so it is now.
My car doors weren't locked.
And the cameras are on.
Like,
Yeah.
We just don't have anything to steal.
well, we had lots to steal. But
Well, we did.
They left it all.
Yeah, it's just, and I'm hyper aware, of course, I always worry about my daughters, and it's just, I'm more aware of my surroundings all the time, or I was. I mean, I always kind of made sure I paid attention to everybody, even grocery shopping or whatever, just hyper focused on, just more aware of my surroundings. And I always tell my girls, just be aware, pay attention.
I was going to say, Mike and I instilled that in our girls.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and Jesus, what the hell is that? Don't sneak up on Jamie and throw a blanket over her head. She'll whip the shit out of you. She'll
Good thing
beat
they
you
don't
over
have
the head with a
cellular
cordless phone.
phones anymore.
Oh, God.
Did it have a long antenna on it, or was it a short antenna?
It was a short antenna.
It wasn't the old ones that you pulled out. And it was like
it was a short antenna.
36 inches long.
No.
Oh man, I'm just picturing that person.
And it was in my left hand too, and I still managed to.
Oh, you're a right-handed person?
I'm a right-handed.
Oh,
I'm a
lucky
righty.
for him, he might have been dead.
I know. I know.
I'm going to use his first name. There's obviously more fire in a pissed off Jamie than there is a horny Steven. More fight.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. Anyways.
Yeah, I don't know where he's at or where he ended up. I think he was in the state pen for a while.
Could probably look him up.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Well,
You have to do that.
Would he have to? Probably still has to register as a sex offender, correct?
Well, I would think so.
Well, yeah, because he would have a lifetime.
Because of the Grand Island incident.
Yeah. It's just going to... Yeah, you can look him up by name. I don't think you have to look him up by town. That's a lot of silence.
Mm-hmm.
What's a lot of that?
What's what?
Me?
I don't know.
Anyway.
Well,
So that's that.
never happened again, though, huh?
Nope.
Lucky you.
Don't fuck with Jamie.
Yeah. Well, no one's tried that with me. Well, Marissa did once. And, yeah, I'm not going to say it.
You
Well,
got your
anyways.
butt kicked, didn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
I attacked her and she beat me off.
Oh, Lord.
Guilty.
Oh, God, you're going to have
It
family
was a
listen.
short trial for that
Your
case.
brother's going to listen to this and go, God.
Oh, Lord.
Sorry, Kennedy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I should be listening.
Oh.
I might have to cut that part out. Anyways, we wrap this one up.
Sure.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
We'll catch you later.
Adios.
Bye.
Back, let you wanna talk.